Good morning, Lafayette. It is great to see each and every one of you out there. I wish I could see right through the camera and see how your morning's going. Maybe you're just sitting at the coffee table drinking a little bit of coffee. Maybe the kids are running around at your feet. Maybe you're, doing a little bit of laundry or something this morning. Wish I could see each and every one of you out there and just say hi. Well, I am saying hi, aren't I? There you go. All right. Hi, I am meteorologist Brian Burton here with Let's Talk Lafayette. We're going to go through a bunch of things today. And the things I like the most, and I like the word things, is weather first, of course. And you're going to see at least a half hour of weather and the weather forecast. And there are plenty of ups and downs in the forecast coming for us in the next couple of weeks. And we are going to consistently see this as we get into spring, which is a lot of ups and downs in the spring where we see big pushes of cold and warm. It's where they kind of fight against each other. And that's the strongest time of the year that we generally see that is in our spring time frame. There's a secondary time frame in the fall that happens again, but we're starting to get into that. We're pushing towards that. And you're going to see some of that in the forecast today, as we'll see some warmth, some cold, some rain, some snow, maybe a little bit of everything. And we'll also talk some sports. There's a big basketball game tonight for the Purdue Boilermakers taking on the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan, number one in the country. The Boilermakers are number 7, I believe, is what I saw yesterday. So number 1 against number 7 in Mackey Arena. It's going to be loud in there for sure. They may break some records, I think, tonight. Going to be a great game. Hopefully, both teams play great, and then the Boilermakers just edge them out somehow or another, and they win it at home because of the crowd, right? That's what we would like to see for sure. Meanwhile, it's another gorgeous day, really. I think starting to set up as we go through the day today. So let's start getting into it. All right. Let's start seeing what we're talking about here. We'll go right here to the maps. As you know, I like to always just start off with the temperature. What's the temperature outside? What's it look like? That kind of thing. And, you know, when you get to these kind of temperatures and you get to this where your morning temperature basically is higher or warmer than your average high this time of the year, it feels comfy out there as long as the wind isn't cranking on top of you anywhere, right? As long as the things aren't real terrible, you should be okay. It seems like, at least at this point. Temperature wise, for sure. The winds weren't too bad yesterday, but I was out and about around the area with my lovely wife, and we were out getting some things and doing a little bit of work, which was kind of nice. It's been nice to move around a little bit more since for me, I had some shots in my knees on Friday. So feeling a little bit better, at least knees wise. And so we were able to get a couple things done yesterday, and that was kind of nice. Hopefully you were able to enjoy it too. But currently, this morning, here we are, Tuesday, February 17th, and it is 39 degrees outside. Just 39 degrees. That is crazy on the temperature scale there. That is for sure. We're not talking anything. Normally, that would be your high, right? 37 to 39 is roughly where your high temperature is this time of the year. Here we are at 7 in the morning, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. It's already 39. We're pushing up towards 56, maybe 70 tomorrow. I think I'm going to go for 70. I told you yesterday I'm probably going to shoot for 70 for tomorrow. 65 on Thursday, and then bam, down comes the fall on the roller coaster, right? So we're climbing up the hill right now to the big hill tomorrow. We start to crest it on Thursday, and boom, we come crashing down on Friday into Saturday and into Sunday. And that will mean a mix of some rain possibilities and, yes, the possibility of some snow. And we'll get into some of those charts here pretty quick, too. Let's take a look at the daily number here real fast for you. All right, there we go. Here's today. Here was yesterday. Yesterday, the high temperature officially out at the airport was 60. I saw lots of little spots in town, where they have their thermometers on their signs out there that said 64, 63. Just depends on where the thermometer is set up. Actual thermometer is in what's called a thermal screen, or it's protected so that the sun cannot directly get onto it, so that you get an actual temperature of the air, not a temperature of the sun hitting on it. So sometimes you'll see some exaggerated numbers in places like that. Where the sun is able to get to it pretty easily. But officially, it looks like 60 was the high yesterday, and the average high is 38. So pretty good day yesterday on tap. Nice warm temperatures and more of the same for today. Let's take a look at the big picture, the big picture. And you say, well, what are you talking about? Big picture, Brian. Well, I'll show you a bigger picture than this here in a little bit, too. But here's the United States, North America, of course. And you can see a lot of cloud cover coming off of the mountains. And I will go ahead and put a little marker right where Lafayette is there, right at the tip of the point there of the spear is Lafayette. And you can see what I see is a lot of mid and high level clouds coming in, streaming in from Iowa, Missouri, Illinois. And that's going to be the downer for today. We get even warmer today than we would have gotten, but because of the thick clouds, and they are pretty thick in many places, we won't quite get the extra few degrees we want today that we would normally have seen, like we did yesterday. Yesterday, there was a hazy, just beautiful cirrus over the top of us in spots. Made for some beautiful pictures last night, I'm sure. Maybe many of you were able to see some of those. And it was just one of those gorgeous kind of evenings last night. Well, today it's a little bit thicker and it's going to block out some of the sunshine. So that means some of the heat won't quite get to you. I can remember yesterday, just on my back a couple times. Wow, man, that heat's pretty warm. I can feel it pretty strong coming there because we haven't seen it in such a long period, right? So it was kind of nice. But now we move over to where like New Mexico, right? And Arizona, and we see all these big, thick cirrus clouds. The bright reds in there, those are really, really high clouds. Okay, those are real, real high cirrus clouds. A lot of times we associate these with thunderstorm tops, but in this case, it's just clouds blowing off of most of the Rocky Mountains, the southern Rockies. You can kind of see this moisture coming up from the southwest. Let me put a quick little line in there so we can look at it real fast here on this. Okay, so you've got the moisture coming straight up, and look where it's pointed to. It's pointed to Lafayette, isn't it? They call this the Pineapple Express if you're in Southern California, but it's south of Southern California right now. But because this whole area is tied in here, that's why you're seeing all of this cloud cover right there that's coming off in the mountains there, where you normally might not see it as easily. We also have a low pressure system that's up over here. As you can see this pretty easily, and you can kind of see the cold front stretching. It's hard sometimes to pick out cold fronts in the mountains because they just become disheveled because of the mountains themselves. But you can see a pretty good cold front on the southern boundary of this system right here, cutting right through there. Looks like feeding into a low pressure system. And then I'm sure we're going to see another low somewhere in here pop off the southern tip of that cold front as it goes through the next 24 hours to 36 hours. So that's kind of the big broad picture. But remember, I said, hey, there are bigger and broader pictures of the globe and what you can see. And so this is one I wanted to pop out for you guys to see the full disc shot. You don't get to see this all the time. Look at this. So this is the actual one of the satellites that's stationary over the equator right now. And obviously Indiana way up here. You can see our systems here. You can see a system out off the coast of the east coast of the United States right here, down Central America into South America. You can see all the way down there on this shot. Not bad. What I see here, though, is look at this big, broad area. Let me draw on it again real quick for you here. Look at this big, broad area of nothing. There's nothing there. Big high pressure system there. Very quiet in the tropics right now. Back down to our south through Cuba, Hispaniola, Belize, Mexico, Honduras, anywhere down there. Just gorgeous weather down there. And that means there's more weather up here to the north that we will have to be keeping an eye on because it's going to go around that big, broad area of upper level, especially high pressure in the southern portions of we'll call it south of the Gulf of America, but in Central America for sure. Right in here is about where that high pressure system is. So you kind of can see that, and that's pretty cool. You don't always get to see the big disc shots when you're looking at different things. Let's look in a little closer real quick here into Lafayette, and really all you're going to see is Lafayette's right about here. Is just a lot of high clouds coming in over the top of us. Nothing to see there. Let's pop back out just a little bit, see if there's even some sprinkles anywhere out of this. Let's see here. There we go. Mosaic red. Nothing really hitting the ground anywhere. We see some movement of what could be more cloud cover than anything. So this out here could be a few sprinkles coming to the ground kind of thing, but don't expect much out of this until this evening when it gets a little closer to us. And then we'll have to keep an eye on it at that point. All right. So that's where we are, at least on that front. Let's put something on here so we can see it a little easier. I like the interstates and the counties so you can see us pretty well. kind of click off of there, and then you see Lafayette in the left hand, right hand side of the picture here, with all the clouds streaming in from the west right towards us as the day goes on today. So, what does that mean for us today? Well, let's look at the broad picture, and we'll start with the temperatures today, because the temperature and the warmth of yesterday is still with us this morning, and that's going to help us. And here we are, Lafayette's right here, okay, right where the 43 is. So keep your eyes focused on that if you want to. But I'm looking at the big, broad area of warmth already this morning. Remember, it's dark out here. It's still early morning out here in Oklahoma, and it's 60 degrees out there. And so it's warm out there. We see the warmth start up as the day goes on today. We get up to 60 pretty quickly by about 1 or 2 o'clock, 60, 62, so low 60s. And then you see that little dark patch of stuff starting to come up from the south. And that is where some of our light rain potential will be for this evening and tonight and through tomorrow, before the quick little front pops through there and clears all the cloud cover away, and then allows for warmth tomorrow. This is tomorrow, 68 it's showing right now for tomorrow afternoon. And then kind of stays that way till tomorrow night. And tomorrow night doesn't look bad at all. And Friday morning still, that would be Thursday morning, still looks pretty good. But here's the low I was telling you about. There's another developing low back out towards Nebraska that we'll see for Thursday. So right now, it looks pretty warm during this entire time frame, and you can see the flow we've been talking about, right, coming straight out of the west or to the southwest and bringing up all the warmth that's out in that direction from us and towards us. And so here we are with the little bunny rabbit ears. There we go. Got that for Evelyn out there. Maybe that was a cat. I don't know. 68 degrees, though, for the high temperature tomorrow. Today, not as warm, but still very warm, still very comfortable, way above seasonable temperatures, and all of our weather pretty much passing to the north over the next, we'll call it 12 hours, and then we start to get our chances of rain in here by this evening. Maybe even a little quicker than that. Let's go to the actual precipitation and take a look at where it is on the charts. Right now, it looks dry, right? Here we are this morning. Not much happening. We can see our flows are the same as we just saw. The big pocket of warmth is back out here towards the southwest, and we'll be seeing that slowly trying to trek in during the day today. And then watch what happens as we cut across. Look at the moisture start to pick up down towards the Ohio River and the Mississippi, where they come together, and the Wabash coming into Ohio. We start to see a little bit of moisture picking up. This is very light shower activity, maybe sprinkles more than anything else. And then it just kind of grows into the evening. This is 7 o'clock this evening, and we just start to see some potential right here. 7, 8 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock right there, down to Terre Haute, with Lafayette being right about there, and kind of just a tail end. So remember yesterday, I showed you low pressure systems and how an occlusion would be in an area and a warm front extends out from that, and then a cold front would kick off down below that. Well, this is almost like an area of a warm pressure or a warm front right in here. The moisture is being seen through that as we look at it today. If you visually look at it, because your low pressure system is out over here, out over the southern Dakotas, and the warm front would extend out and to the east, and you can almost see the kinks right in there. And any little bump in the road will create some moisture and maybe some clouds and some light rain potential. Here we are at 10 o'clock tonight, still some light rain on top of us. Then it starts to scatter out by around 11 o'clock or so, midnight in that time frame. And then we start to see that in the morning, there's this little line of stuff that wants to run through. All right. So first off, we first see a line, maybe 9 o'clock Zulu, which is 4 in the morning, right? A little line of maybe just some light showers, right? And then there's a little gap, and then there's a little line right there of some showery activity too, comes through somewhere around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you're on your way to work, on your way to school tomorrow morning, there's the potential for that. And then behind that, it gets very quiet for a little bit until the next following couple days, and we start to see the low pressure system building out here, right? And this one is the one we'll keep a track on, see what happens to it on Thursday. And then Saturday is going to be the one that's really the popper that we'll have to keep an eye on real close. This one not as bad as the system coming in on Saturday. This one's still warm, it looks like, as of right now. I'm going to zoom in closer, though. Let's zoom in closer so we can see exactly where all the rain showers pop up and everything is. So let's go to where that first activity is. There it is right there. Lafayette being right here, of course. There it is at 9 o'clock this evening. Lafayette's right there, and you can kind of see the band of the warm, maybe the warm front that's involved there, or a weak little trough passing through. And then it kicks for an hour or two. It goes widely scattered around 11 to midnight, just hit and miss spots all over the place. You can see more like a shotgun than it is, a big old hole in the wall, so to speak, if you want to look at it that way. And then you can kind of look at how it moves through. There's the band at about 4 in the morning, right? Somewhere around 3 to 4 o'clock. Lafayette being right there is where this band of precipitation kind of comes through. And then there's a little line back here that we'll see if that's going to pop up anything. And then that goes through right around 7 to 8 o'clock. I'm interested to see. It's still early, but what is the potential for maybe a lightning bolt out of that or not? Let's see here where we got it. Lightning density doesn't show anything out of that, so that's good news. So it doesn't look convective at all right now. It does look convective out to the west earlier in the period, or later for that second low that we were talking about. You can see how that is Wednesday. Okay, here we are. And then there's just nothing there. So that nothing convective for us to worry about, at least on the beginning front. But it looks like there's some lightning and thunder out towards Iowa, southern Wisconsin for tonight around midnight or so for them, but not for us along with that system as it tries to come through the local area at that time frame. Let's go back to the precip here real quick. Let's see what the NAM says for us for this time frame. The NAM's about 50% done with this run. It's only 18 hours into it. So when does it say the rain should start popping? And we take a look at it right about there. So that's about 7 o'clock. So somewhere, they're between the two, it's 7 and 9, it seems like. A slight chance of some sprinkles or a light rain shower. There it is, about 10 o'clock tonight. Same thing. And then a little bit weaker, some sprinkles by 1 in the morning. And does it have any kind of line? It does. A little more sophisticated line around 4 o'clock, as you can see there. Very similar to the other model. And then it kind of pushes it through. And there you are at 8 o'clock. And look at that, by 10 o'clock, everything's gone again, and you just maybe a couple sprinkles in a cloud here or there left over, and then it starts to clear out nicely, and we don't have much to worry about other than it wants to hang some sprinkles still around it, some light shower, just a light shower here or there. Good news, see the cold is up to the north still. During the day, tomorrow, it should get pretty warm. What does the model here say? NAM for temperatures tomorrow? Let's see what it says. It's not going as warm, I don't think. Here we go. Yeah, it's only going like 50. Well, there we go, 61 tomorrow. But there's that pocket of 63 just to the north of us by that time frame. All right, so that's for tomorrow during that time frame. And what does it say for today for us? It shows us with a high somewhere in the mid 50s. So yesterday, this was doing the same thing. Yesterday, it was a little colder than the her. Her was more on, and the her was even slightly cold. Remember yesterday I told you I thought we'd get to 60. It was showing, I think, 58. And the NAM here was showing 54, 55. And we got all the way up to 60 officially at the airport yesterday. So just to give you an indication how models can be different, hence the reason the forecaster has to go through and take a look at most of them and give you a good idea what's going on out there with that on that front. All right. So here's what we do have, though. Whoop, jump the chart. All right, so there's the maps there showing you what's happening at least in the next 24 to 36 hours. So now let's start looking a little bit farther out, right? Let's start looking at temperatures farther out. And I'm going to go on to the broader picture here and look on bigger so we can see systems coming, so we can see what is going to be happening on each one and what we may run into because of those systems. So here we are. It's Tuesday, right? We're on Tuesday now. Tuesday evening, we see the system bump through. That's that kind of warm front out in front of the system. There's a trailing cold front behind it. And that kind of just zips right on through tomorrow morning, right? And then we're quiet. Here's Lafayette right here. We're quiet for a while. And then we start to see some moisture popping up to the south of us again Thursday evening now, right? So this is Thursday morning. It shows a quick little band of maybe a shower or two popping through Thursday morning. Not Wednesday morning, not Thursday morning, but then it starts to get developed. This is the low right here that you can see here. More to develop for Thursday evening into Friday, where this popping these showers right here that pop up early Thursday morning. I'm not sure if that could be some thunderstorm activity or not. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But now remember, at this point, our flow is dramatically from the south here. Here we are right in front of the system, right? The low is back here. The circulation is around it like this, right? And the flow in front of it is from the south. So we're pulling up all that moisture from the Gulf of America. And then there's cold air up to the north. You can see where the freezing kind of line is, where the snow rain line is. And at that point, with the low being back right about here. And we'll have to keep an eye and see what's going to happen with that one. But it looks like there could be some thunderstorm activity. Let's hit some convective on that. Does this thing have anything? See what unstable? Yeah, it does show some instability there Thursday morning. So that's something new that was not on there yesterday that we'll keep an eye on. Now, obviously, back down here towards south of St. Louis and back down towards the boot of Missouri looks to be more active than up towards us, but it's definitely something we'll watch and keep an eye on. Okay, so what happens Thursday night, though? So then here comes the activity Thursday night into Friday, kind of brushes through. The low is going to go up towards Chicago. But look at this. Here was where the warm front was. If you remember the drawings from yesterday, if you were watching, there's an occlusion about here. Then there's a warm front out here. Then we could come back and you could draw the cold front right there. And this spot right here is called the triple point. Guess where we're at? We're right at that triple point. And that's where other low pressure systems could be. Now, that's just generality. This doesn't look classic at all here, but I could almost draw it in there and see what I could see for that exact kind of reasoning behind that. All right, so let's go a little farther out with it. And you see some showers actually start to get more active during the day and into the evening Friday night. This would be midnight, 1 in the morning, Friday morning, become very active, and then kind of pass off towards the east. And then we keep an eye out and we think to ourselves, okay, here's Friday during the day. We look pretty good. Everything's quiet. The low is passed off. It's now up over Lake Huron to the north and moving away from us. And then we're going to keep an eye on, see if what pops on Saturday into Sunday right now. That's the next big one, potential where we could see something coming from that. And when you pop the GFS in there, look at what you see here. Well, first off, it looks like two eyes and an ugly face sticking his tongue out at you. That's one thing. But that shows rain Saturday night, Sunday into Sunday morning. But I'm not talking rain now. Now we're talking the potential for some cold possibly, right? Is it cold? Is it not cold? Let's see what our temperatures are during that time frame, because what we haven't seen, because I went from temperatures to precipitation and I haven't gone back to the temperatures for the long range, is what the temperature is going to be like on that day, right? And I believe it's going to be pretty cold that morning and that day. And sure enough, you're in the 20s and 30s. So now we're talking snow, not rain, right? Snow, not rain. And how much potential for snowfall is with that. Total accumulations in a 24-hour period shows us at 3.5 inches. And look where the strike zone is. Remember where the last storm went through? It's between Indianapolis and Louisville, right? With right along the river being one of the strong spots with 5 inches of snow there. 5 inches somewhere between us and India, it looks like, somewhere in that area. And for us, 3.5 inches of snowfall. This would be Saturday night into Sunday morning. So that's how rapidly that'll move through. And then it kind of keeps on going. And then when you go through the extended, you don't see much else after that. Let's see if there's any more as we start to warm back up again. So if you remember, there's a system beginning into March where there could be some cold again. So we're going to see this ups and downs in our temperatures, and we're going to see the potential for a storm right there. The European does not go out that far yet, unfortunately, on the 00Z run, and the 06Z run doesn't go that far for it yet either. Hasn't finished quite yet. So at least that's on that one. The GFS did. How far does it go time-wise? It goes to the 6Z, and it shows that system right there. And it pops that 3.5 inches, give or take, right around us during Saturday night into Sunday morning. So we are not done with the snow yet. Yesterday, I told you it'd probably be at least one, maybe two more pops of snow in our forecast somewhere. May not be the bigger storm that we had earlier this year, but it looks like there's some potential there for it right now as we go farther and farther out. So, well, what did that do to our temperatures, right? Let's go back and look at the temperatures now, and we'll see what we're talking about. Let's go back to today, or close to today, right? Here we are. Here's our big warmth. Here we are early in the period. This is today, tomorrow. Tomorrow warms up. Look at that, 68 degrees, nice and warm tomorrow afternoon. Going to be a beautiful warm day there tomorrow. And then it's still warm on Thursday. still trying to climb up near 60s. Matter of fact, go Thursday night. Let's see, here we go. Wednesday night into Thursday morning, it only gets down to like 49 or 50. And then it climbs back up. And at midnight, Friday night, it's still like 60 degrees. And then boom, drop the hammer come Friday morning, right? By 12Z Friday morning, which is 7 o'clock, we're back down to 37. We see a big pocket of cold air out towards our west and towards our northwest with the low here. Remember the flow around the low. The low is counterclockwise. So you got a flow like this. So all this cold air right here is being drawn right towards Lafayette, right? And all this warm air is out in front, has now passed us and moved off to the east. So we're not getting into the influence out here anymore. We're now getting into the influence in here. And that's going to pull temperatures, even single digits, it looks like in South Dakota, North Dakota, Kansas. Look at this, 22, 32 in Oklahoma. It was showing 80 degrees for like tomorrow. So look how the difference. They're going to see a 50 or 60-degree difference in change in temperature in some of those spots. Us, not quite as much, but still a pretty dramatic change in temperatures. All right. So there's Friday morning as the cold comes rushing back in, as the roller coaster takes the big dive, right? And then it's reinforced on Saturday as it still stays pretty chilly and cold on Saturday. Temperatures in the 20s overnight Sunday. The front goes through, pops that snow, and we're in the teens again on Monday. Look at this. Now we're back into winter, unfortunately. 1920s, we're back in the 20s and 30s. Lots of teens in there too for the morning hours. This is Wednesday next week, right? The next little system goes by. Notice it tries to pull up some warm air as it goes by. And then it warms us up a little bit, but then it kind of keeps us more seasonable towards the end of next week. And then there's a big low pressure system that wants to come towards us next Friday into Saturday, brings in some more warmth, and we warm back up again. And then look at that right behind it. There's some more cold. Will this cold get down to us next Sunday, March 1st? But watch what happens these last couple days here. Boom, boom, boom. And then bam, right there. That's the one again. Now we're talking March 4th. All right. Again, we are now 2.5 weeks out on this time frame. So take it with a grain of salt. But what is the one thing I definitely can see, and I tell you to always watch for trends, is we're going to have a pocket of warm or we're going to have a pocket of cold. What I see is uplift, downlift, right? So getting warmer, getting colder, getting warmer, getting colder, right? So it looks like we have at least 2 cold periods left this weekend. And then 2 weekends later, it looks like there's another really big cold push. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's totally different by the time we get there, because it's just so far out. And then the second thing I see out of that even shows single digits for us on Thursday, March 5th, early in the morning time frame there. What I do see, though, with the trends is the ups and downs and being normal for this time of the year as we are pushing. Yes, it's still February. I know that, but we're kind of pushing into spring. So this is not out of the ordinary to have these ups and downs in February at all. It's just March, April, and May are normally the months that you see a lot of the ups and downs, but you can see them as early as January, February, and you can see them as late as June and July, right? So just dependent on where it is. And that's why they're averages. They're just averages. So expect a lot of the ups and downs with this for sure during that time frame. That's way out Thursday, March 5th, and it shows a single-digit reading in the morning there. So up, down, ups, downs. So you're going to see a lot of it. A lot of roller coaster rides for us during that time frame. I want to check out the convective activity again real quick here. See if I can find something that tells me where some supercells could be during this time frame. Anything crosses us. Here's that little batch that comes through tomorrow night, right? Goes by to our north real quick. Just a slight chance. It did really show most of it up here on the and it didn't show any lightning really. So I'm not real indicative of that. There's the system on this would be Thursday night into Friday, and it looks like there could be something popping up down here. That's darker color. It's definitely more of an opportunity for thunderstorms down between Louisville and back towards Nashville, of course, on that front. And then we look pretty good right now for convective activity. You know, of course, it's February. You don't always see the big changes, but let's see what happens as we get. Oh, there's a little activity with one system going through. Too far out now, but we start to see some developing stuff towards the end of the month south of us, and then maybe into March. with the snow system possibly being very cold. Look at all the winds on this directions; they're all coming out of the northwest, and these are more of the level atmosphere that you're going to see there. So no thunderstorm activity really throughout much of this. So that's good on that front. I know a lot of us want to see, activity, but right now it seems like I would like to stay away from it myself. Let's take a quick look and see if there's any ice mixed in here anywhere as these systems go by. There's the rain on Friday. Here's the system getting ready to come through Saturday night. And again, look at the heavy band of snow right down by the river. It's got to be some ice mixed in right in here somewhere, but it doesn't look conducive for ice storm, but that's something to watch. And then that goes on by, and our colors, light snow kind of lingers, and we're in the cold for a few days there. And then we start to warm up. There's some ice right there next Friday morning at 1 in the morning. Could something pop through as it moves through? We get that rain Thursday evening into Friday. Doesn't look like much for us, though. That would be very quick and fleeting at the best. So I don't see a lot of ice on here either. We look pretty good on that front. Nothing. No pinks on there. That's good news for all of us. That'll make something exciting for us, something we don't have to worry about. Back to the day real quick, though. Let's go back to the high temperature real fast, and then we'll get into some other aspects like some sports here real quick. All right, here we are. And let's go zoom in for everybody. Go into our sector over here set up for Northern Illinois. There we are this morning. Currently, we are at 43 degrees already at the airport. It has already changed. 43. It is 9:30 in the morning. So let's go to the 9:30 shot. Okay, so that would be 7 o'clock. There's 8 o'clock. There's 9 o'clock. And there's 10. And at 9 o'clock, it says 40. And at 10, it says 46. We're at 9:30 and we're 43. So pretty good on that. But I see a southerly flow. I see lots of warm temperatures for this time of the year. We're already far above normal for today. It's going to stay that way. Look how it warms up very nicely this afternoon. We get up right near 60 pretty easily this afternoon. And then we just have cloud cover that's keeping us from getting any warmer. I would not have been surprised at all if we get to 65 today without the cloud cover, but it looks like there's plenty of cloud cover, even though it's the high variety. It will block the sun out and keep it from us. Then overnight, tomorrow morning, at when you wake up and go to work, it's going to be 52 degrees, 52, 53, somewhere in there. Look at how warm it is in the morning tomorrow morning after the rains. But remember, it's going to be raining, though, at the same time, off and on in different times overnight tonight. And then look at the warmth for tomorrow, 68, 69 right in there. That's why I have no problems popping a 70 on here for the potential for tomorrow at all. Matter of fact, I'll go back to it in a second. Let's go back to that 68 right there where it shows it. Let's see what we can find for cloud cover. What's the cloud cover during that time frame? Look at that, clear. All right, if we're going to be clear tomorrow, don't be surprised if we hit 70 tomorrow then. All right. Now, wind-wise, though, what are we talking about for winds here with that? It will be 22 knots, which is like 25 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour for some gusts. So while it'll be 65 to 70 actual temperature, it's going to feel more like 55, unfortunately. That's the bad news because it'll be windy. It'll be windy. But remember, that's a trade-off. To get the warmth up here, it has to be windy and strong enough wind to pull it all the way up here, right? That's what you're going to see tomorrow with the activity on that front coming towards us during the day tomorrow. How about during the day today, wind-wise? Oh, there's some pretty strong gusty winds overnight tonight when that system runs through tonight. So here's 4 in the morning. Remember, as it bounces through, look at that. So there's a big pocket right out here to our west in central Illinois. You're talking gusts of 46, 47 knots right there, a couple places. So now you're talking 55 miles an hour for gusts in central Illinois this evening. This is midnight. All right. And then by 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, here we are. There we are. It's 36 knots in Lafayette at 8 Zulu, which is 3 in the morning, right? So 3 in the morning, you're going to be some gusty winds. Hangs for a couple hours. Look at that. Hangs on till 8 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock, it's still 30. 10 o'clock, it's 28. And then it finally starts dying down after that. And we see less and less wind as the day goes on. And then look at that. You're back to single digits and nothing by tomorrow evening. Wednesday evening, then you're looking pretty quiet wind wise. All right. And when does the first original winds pick up? Here we are today. We're at 9, 10. That's nothing. It's kind of pretty standard wind. And we pick up a little bit this afternoon, which is normal. And weather, it calms down at night a lot of times because your atmosphere becomes more stable. And then during the day, it becomes a little more unstable. And you generally pick up winds. And generally in the afternoon, they're a little stronger than they are in the morning. This is kind of just trends, the way things work on a daily basis throughout the globe, most places. And then every place has its intricacies, right? Like if you're right on the ocean, sometimes you constantly have an onshore flow, right? That's a possibility. Those are the changes and differences. But in the mid latitudes of the United States, that's how it kind of works most places. All right. So we do start to pick up the winds, this afternoon into this evening, right around 20 knots. 18, 19, 20 knots. So that's 25 miles an hour. So that's going to be gusty. But again, that'll help keep us get up to near that 60 mark here this morning and this afternoon. Something we're all wanting to see, I think, on our front with that. So that's it for temperatures. So what does that mean? What does that mean when you're going out to the ball game tonight? All right. So what time is the ball game tonight? Let me take a quick look at that. Game is at 6:30 tonight. All right. 6:30 tonight. So 6 o'clock would be 23Z. Let's go to 23Z. 6 o'clock, it's going to be 50 degrees out at Mackey. All right. So the hour before, it's going to be 53. It's going to be getting a little cooler, but still kind of comfy. It's coming down from 60. It'll be 57 about 4 o'clock, and then 53, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's 50. By the end of the game, it's just hovering around 50 degrees still, 49, 50. So take a light jacket with you. Be ready. Remember, an isolated shower by the time you get out of there, probably scattered little light rains and some sprinkles is going to be a strong possibility during that time frame. So be ready for that if you're going to the ball game this evening. Speaking of the ball game, now that we have a little bit of time here, all right, so we have some game day information from you, and this comes straight from the Purdue Sports site, a great place to go. Just go to purduesports.com, and you can get all the teams. Every single team that Purdue has will have some kind of page on there. A lot of times they have information. They have people putting stories out on them. I like to read those a lot myself. Maybe you're one of those people that likes to do that also. We just have to see how that's going with you out there. All right. So here we go. Tuesday, February 17th, today, game time, 6:30 against number 1 Michigan. Michigan is 24-1, and they are 14-1 in the Big Ten. Purdue, no slouch. They are number 7 in the country. They are 21-4. They are 11-3 in the Big Ten. All right. Television tonight is on Peacock. So you got to get Peacock. I don't want to pay for it, so I'm not doing it. I'll just watch the highlights afterwards. But Robbie Hummel is going to be on the call there. And I think most of us like Robbie. Robbie's getting a great reputation. And I think people like listening to him, not just because we're Purdue homers and we love Robbie, but he's getting a good reputation all around the Big Ten and all of college basketball. So that'd be great to hear. And of course, Rob Blackman and my friend Bobby Rydell is going to be on the Purdue Global Radio Network. Triple time. I can't do it quite like Rob does. Triple time. He's got a good voice, though, for that. It's really good. Love listening to Bobby give the scores and give some of his color commentary on that, too. What are the numbers looking like? All right, so home Purdue is 11-2. We got lost against Iowa State, got butt stomped there. Excuse the expression, but got butt stomped there. And then lost that close game to Illinois. Could have kind of gone either way. Both teams played really well in that one. Purdue is also 7-2 away, and they're 3-0 on neutral courts. Here they are. Quad one, they are 8-4. And really, there's only a couple teams in the country that are better than that. And guess who one of them is? Yes, the team coming into town tonight to play. Strength of schedule, Purdue's is 7th. Ken Palm says strength of schedule is 10th. NCAA says strength of schedule is 7th. I'm not sure why there's a difference between the two. NCAA net rating is 7th for Purdue and 8th for Ken Palm for Purdue as an actual rated team. Offensively, Purdue is rated 2nd and 19th on offense and efficiency and defense efficiency. So what are we talking about? After concluding a grueling, and yes, it was grueling, gauntlet of 8 games, 6 of which were on the road. It was 2-1, 2-1, 2, right? After completing that, and they did go 6-2 during that stretch. I think that's a pretty good stretch. After that, they're going to return home for 3 straight tonight against Michigan, Friday against Indiana, and then I believe it's next Tuesday, Michigan State comes into town. Those are 3 tough games right there. If that ain't more of the gauntlet, I don't know what to tell you. The rest of the season is tough. They've already proven. They went into Nebraska and won. They went into Iowa and won. They got the moxie. They're getting it back. They're feeling good. Following the matchup with Michigan, again, they're going to host Indiana on Friday, and they'll end the homestand against Michigan State on Thursday. I don't think today is homecoming because there's still one last game coming later in the season still left over, all right? So there's another game at home still. I believe they play Wisconsin the last game of the season at home. So that'll be first week of March, somewhere in there. All right. So Tuesday's meeting marks the 172nd time that Purdue has met Michigan, with the Boilermakers leading the series 94-77. Michigan has, however, won 2 straight games in the series. Oh, bummer. We were 94-75, and we blew that streak. All right. Let's start a new one. Let's go 95-77. Dating to the 28 Big Ten Championship, 2018 Big Ten Championship in New York City, Michigan has won 8 of the last 13 meetings. So they've been up and about and playing some good ball. Purdue did win 4 straight in the series before Michigan's current 2-game streak. So back and forth, back and forth. It's both teams are really good teams. Both teams could win on any given night on either of the other's floors. Just depends on who produces the most, who sticks to their game plans, who can cover on defense the best, that kind of thing. Rebounding, all the same things that Coach Painter likes to talk about. Tuesday's game will be the 6th top 10 showdown between the two teams. When both teams are ranked in the top 10, Purdue leads by a 4-1 margin. I like that idea. In 31 of the last 33 meetings, including Tuesday, one of the teams entered the game ranked in the top 25. In 15 of the games, a team was ranked in the top 10. All right, so powerhouses the two are becoming, right? Purdue is moving its way up the board. Michigan's already kind of up there as one of the bigger powerhouses, not quite maybe a blue blood, but they're up there when it comes to basketball. And I think Purdue is setting itself right in for that mantra. Now we just got to get over the hump and get a national championship, all right? All right, so news and notes, it says here, facing its toughest challenge of the season, absolutely. We can get Don't storm court. Don't storm the court if you win. That's what I say. You're already a top 10 ranked team. Just be excited about the win. They'll probably still storm the court. All right, facing its toughest challenge of the season, Purdue aims for its 5th straight victory when number 1 ranked Michigan visits Mackey tonight. It will mark the first visit to Mackey for a number 1 ranked team since January 8th, 2005, when number 1 Illinois defeated the Boilermakers 68-59 under Gene Katie's final season at Purdue. Michigan will be the first Big Ten team to be ranked number 1 other than Purdue since Michigan State was number 1 in the preseason poll to start the 2019-2020 season. So who's been the mainstay? Purdue has been, right? Since that poll, Purdue has been ranked number 1 for 17 weeks, the second most in the country, only behind Gonzaga, who was for 30. And Gonzaga had that one year where it was almost like the whole year they were number 1, and then they faltered when it came time to get to the dance and do what they needed to do. All right, through Sunday's games, Purdue is 8-4 in quad 1 games and tied for the 4th most quad games behind Florida at 8 and Duke at 10, Michigan at 9, and Arizona has 9. So there you go. Purdue is 19-4 in the first 3 quads, the second most wins in the first 3 quads nationally, with only Michigan and UConn having more. And Purdue's 2 quad 4 games are the second fewest nationally behind Michigan, who's number 1. They only have 1. So both teams playing tough schedules, right? You like that. Izzo set that up years ago, and now teams are starting to run with it, and Purdue has been doing that. Of Purdue's remaining 6 games, 3 of them are currently quad 1 contests. Wow, 3 of them. Michigan State, and Ohio State. The others are right on the cusp of being quad 1, right? So Wisconsin's 33rd, Indiana's. And if it was at Wisconsin, it would be a quad 1 game, but it's at Mackey, so it's not, right? It has to be under 30 or 25, not sure which it is. Indiana's 34th, same with them. And then Northwestern is 77th. Because you're going to Northwestern, I think it has to be top 75 at Northwestern, or maybe it's top 50. I'm not sure the numbers on those. So those could bump those up one way or the other for quad 1s. Purdue ranks in the top 25 nationally in assist turnover ratio. They're actually number 1. Offensive efficiency, they're number 2. And assists per game, they are 3rd in the country. Turnovers per game, they're 14th. So they're doing great. Field goal percentage is 16th, defensive efficiency is 19th, and rebound margin is 20th. And Michigan has lots of high numbers like that too. Purdue is one of 9 teams to rank in the top 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiencies. That would be Purdue, Michigan, Arizona, Duke, Houston, Vanderbilt, Florida, Iowa State, and Gonzaga. And of all of those, they pretty much all have a chance to win the national championship. I think people would question Vanderbilt because they kind of came out of nowhere. That would be about the one. And then everybody seems to always question Gonzaga because they play good, but they never get it done, right? All right, so those are the teams. Purdue has been ranked in 74 straight AP top 25 polls, the second longest streak in the country behind only Houston, who lost last night. Houston lost last night. And Purdue has been in the top 10 in 73 of the last 95 polls. 73 of the last 95 polls. That is a lot. So there's a lot to get with there, right? There's a lot of information on that one right there. You go also to the Purdue Sports and you'll be able to get live updates, live stats of what's going on. There's all kinds of videos to watch on here. There's information about the press conference of what Matt Painter said yesterday, what Trey Kaufman-Renn said. They talked to Daniel Jacobson. Different people. You can go to different teams, like the women's basketball team. There's a whole bunch of information on them. It talks about Purdue surging in the second half to beat Rutgers the other night. So that was pretty cool. They talk about Layden's named to the 3-point championship watch list. And there's stories on every single team. I think there was something which one was, let's go back to the main page here real quick. It talks about Purdue hosts. Boilermakers make their way to Minneapolis for the Big Tens, and it's swimming. It shows swimming in there, so that's pretty cool. And there's baseball stuff in here. Golf is one I follow pretty closely too. The baseball, occasionally I keep an eye on. Purdue places 7th at the Spartan Suncoast Invitational, and that is the ladies' golf, not the men's golf. And the men's golf has a pretty good team. I haven't heard much about the ladies' golf team. Let's see some info on them real quick here. They finished 7th there. Not bad at all. That was just in the last couple of days. Behind 1 under par 71s from sophomore Samantha Brown and freshman Luana Valero, Purdue women's golf recorded an even par 288 in the final round of the Spartan Suncoast Invitational. The Boilermakers were a total of 38 over. They shaved 27 strokes off their second round team score and ended the tournament in 7th place. So sounds like they just had one bad round and then they played some pretty solid golf, or it was not a great round and then they played some really great golf one day. It doesn't matter. They moved themselves all the way up to 7th that last day. So after the scoring average eclipsed 78 over the first 2 rounds, the final round scoring average dropped to 74. You see the big difference. So very nice that the ladies did a good job there. Samantha Brown finished tied for 5th total, and she was 2 over for the tournament. So, and Luana Valero, she finished +9, and she had, it looks like, yep, sure enough, I look at all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them had the worst day on the second day, and that's how it happened. They were probably right in the mix in the top 5 or so or 10, and then they fell out, and then they got themselves back into it the last day with a 71, 71, 74, 72 for the scores I believe they kept. So pretty cool. So those are the kind of information you can get on there. There's diving, there's softball, there's golf, there's soccer, there's wrestling. The wrestling team's been doing a lot lately. What's the men's golf? I saw something on them this week too. The Easterbrook is one of the guys who plays on the team. He posts a top 10 finish at the Puerto Rico Classic. They got to go down to Puerto Rico and play. Very nice. What did the team do as itself? The wrap up looks like this. If you wanted to know, the Boilermakers shot a 4 under par 284 for a 36-hole total of 9 under par 567, but fell to 14th place. So, man, there were some scores on this bad boy. The Purdue men's golf team posted its 2nd straight team round under par, though, but fell 3 spots in the team race during that 36 holes. Well, you got number 1 ranked Virginia was there, number 2 LSU, Ohio State, Tennessee, Oklahoma, all in the top 5 were there. That's where they finished. And Purdue is just 5 shots out of 11th place and 2 shots behind Wisconsin in 13th place. Sam Easterbrook recorded a strong round, moving up 15 spots into 10th place with a 5 under 67 for a 36-hole tally of 8 under par. So he went 69, 67, and he still only finished in 10th place. So there was some golf being played down there by everybody, huh? So I like following that, and I believe, especially like on Twitter, on X, you can a lot of times you can kind of see what's going live on there, and sometimes the Purdue site will also have live scores on theirs too. All right, so that's it for your sports update for now. Big game tonight, 6:30 tonight. Get out and about. Take a jacket with you when you are heading out because there could be some light rain when you get out of there, or some sprinkles and showers potential there. All right. So, what else we got going on here? Well, let's go back to me real quick so you can see me because you just love seeing me, don't you? Well, maybe not. But what are we seeing? There was some sad news yesterday. Oscar winning actor Robert Duvall died at 95 years old yesterday. I remember him from his first movie that I remember him from was The Great Santini. Me having been a Marine, it was kind of something that I remember because this was about a Marine aviator pilot and how he treated his son. I was talking to my wife about it yesterday. And then I saw just before I got on air here that Jesse Jackson has passed away today. He was 84 or 85. Haven't heard any updates yet on Jesse and the news on him, but he passed away this morning, it sounds like. And so it seems like, how they always seem like they run in threes. People say that. Well, there's two big ones right there that have passed away in the last 2 days. And Jesse Jackson, I don't care what your politics are about, one way or the direction or the other. He was a big civil rights advocate. He did a lot of good things back in the 70s, especially 60s and 70s when he was out fighting for the cause. And he'll be missed. A lot of family around him too. We say prayers for both families and all the people who have lost somebody today or yesterday or in the last few days that we haven't had a chance to pray for. We pray for all those people, and we just ask for solace and some consoling blessings for each family as they get through these hard times during that time frame. But Robert Duvall, one of our biggest actors out there, definitely for sure done tons of movies. My favorite movie of his is Secondhand Lions. You got to see that one. That movie is very good. You'll like that a lot. Secondhand Lions. Watched it. I'm not a person who likes to watch movies 2 or 3 times, but I've seen Secondhand Lions at least twice, probably 3 times. And we were talking about watching it again with the boys here, the grandsons here, pretty soon. So that'll be pretty exciting. Secondhand Lions, great movie to go watch on the front with him. All right. And again, Jesse Jackson passed away this morning. I'll try to see if I can find some more details on Jesse here pretty quick. See if Star City has any updates on that. Nothing. Nobody's updated their website yet. Let's see if we can find Jesse on here. Bear with me as I take a quick look into the U.S. Daily Mail here, the Daily Mail. Yep. Just information. Civil rights icon. He was 84. Jesse Jackson was protege of Martin Luther King Jr. And he passed away this morning. Does it say what happened? I'm getting up there myself. 84 is 84, right? I'm not there yet, but I'm heading that direction, just like we all are. His family said he died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones on Tuesday morning. A cause of death was not immediately given. So there you go. Fellow civil rights leader Al Sharpton was among the first to pay tribute to the legendary activist. He said the Reverend Dr. Jesse Lewis Jackson was not simply a civil rights leader. He was a movement unto himself. He carried history in his footsteps and hope in his voice. One of the greatest honors of my life was learning at his side. He reminded me that faith without action is just noise. He taught me that protest must have purpose, that faith must have feet, and that justice is not seasonal, it is daily work. He ended the statement by saying, "Rest now, Reverend Jackson, I love you." So there you go. That just came out, just happened, that they sent that information out. All right. Let's see if there's any new things to do on the front of what we saw yesterday and Learning Network. Nope, everything is still the same. There's a construction pre-apprentice program that's popping up in the Frankfurt area if you're interested in that for the auto club. And They're now enrolling for their construction pre-apprentice program that begins in March. You can earn industry recognized credentials such as NCCER Core and OSHA 10 as you take your first step toward a registered apprenticeship. You do have to register by February 20th if you're interested in that front on that. If you're so that's going to be down in the Frankfurt area. And then we talked about maple sugaring event, which is March 7th and 8th. Yesterday we talked about it from 10 to 4 p.m. These free event features homemade pancakes, sugar harvest, and syrup rendering, along with historical reenactments and raffles that'll be there. That's out at Fort Weatnan on March 7th and 8th. Maybe there's one of those days you can take the kids out there. You know, one of the things I did see yesterday too was guys out fishing on the river. Well, it was warm. It was easy to get down to the river. They were out in the middle of the river because a lot of the river is really low right now, right? We have been in a drought for a long period here in Lafayette. In my mind, I keep seeing these things. I'm thinking it's been 5-6 years that we've been below normal for amounts of precipitation that we have been getting. A lot of us joke and kid about the bubble around Lafayette, how the storms come in and then they just spread apart and go around Lafayette. And it sure seems like that at times. But when you look at drought maps and drought monitors, you can see that Lafayette is definitely in one of those and is in potential for drought and has been in that for a while now. And so that continues right now. Oh, good. We have some new updates. Let's go straight back to the maps. We got a couple minutes left here. Let's hit those real fast. Let me highlight the maps for you so you can see them. Bam. Look at that. 46 degrees currently right now. But you notice here, the new update is finally finishing out on the NAM, and it's showing 70 tomorrow. So, all right. That makes me want to go 71 or 72. I always want to bump just a degree or two warmer. But remember, tonight, some light rain potential through tomorrow morning, right? Very warm again tomorrow. And then Thursday night into Friday, again, some more. Right? Was that Thursday into Friday? Or am I getting my days mixed up here? I think I'm getting my days mixed up more than anything else. Let's go to the NAM real fast here. Precipitation. There we go. And let's zoom out a little bit. All right. So we don't lose track of where we're at. All right. So here's Wednesday. All right. There's Wednesday. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So it was today's Tuesday. Obviously, there's your rain tonight, Tuesday night into Wednesday. Goes by, and it's Thursday. Developing Thursday, a couple sprinkles during the day, and then it was Thursday night into Friday. There we go, where we saw the next big rain. And then another storm coming in Saturday night into Sunday, which has snow potential in it. So that's something to keep in mind there on that front. Satellite picture hasn't changed much. We're just seeing lots of hysterical high pressure system in control over the eastern half of the United States and lots of high clouds coming off of the mountains. But there is a distinguished low in there up towards the southern Dakotas, and it will be heading to the north. And that is what's going to drag up some of the stuff during the day today. And that's where we'll be seeing that when we go back a shot or two. So there we are. Here we are this morning, and then we start to see the sprinkles pop this afternoon right there. That's at like 9-10 o'clock tonight. And then there's chances of rain. There's some by tomorrow morning. There's a band that pushes through. Nothing looks real dramatic there. You notice none of it's heavy either. The heavy stuff is still way up over the Lake Michigan, up over northern Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, right there. The yellows and the reds, Wisconsin, right there, smack dab there. And we're kind of left out of that loop. And then it clears out tomorrow, warms up nicely, and then we start to pick up another chance Thursday for some sprinkles during the day, light shower here or there, but very isolated, it looks like, and then gets more active by the time we get into Thursday evening into Friday night. And because, look at this, it fires up right on us or just to the north of us for the showers, we could get totally missed in that batch, even with the little tail that kicks off and comes down through here Friday night. This will be Thursday night into Friday morning. We still could see nothing out of that system right there. So there's some potential for that. And then that passes through pretty quickly before the next one comes through and we change over the ECM WF and we can see what's going to happen there. Watch this. Here comes the next system coming in for, boop, boop, boop. Oh, wrong model. There we go. Back to GFS. Go back a couple shots. There we go. There it is. There's the one. Remember the ugly face or the goofy face? Look at that. Some monster face coming at us. And then it gets us. And then there's some potential for some snowfall with that one. This is Saturday night into Sunday morning for your potentials there. Winter precipitation, let's see, just total snow cover, and it shows us at 3.4 inches around us. So there is potential for that. Let's zoom in a little closer, see if we can get a little bit more highlight on that. 3.4 at us, a little south between us and India. It looks like there's some spots of 5 inches, but this is more of a hit and miss. Remember that. These are in streaks. So the streak could be over us, could be farther south. We may be up here on the northern edge, but right now it looks like around 3.5 inches for most of us. Saturday night into Sunday morning is when we will see that snowfall on that front. So folks, that is it for today. We have done another one. We are going to head towards our Tuesday. Hopefully, you have a good afternoon. I got a doctor's appointment this afternoon. I'll be out riding around, going to the doctors, talking to them. I got a lot of them this week and the next couple of weeks, and I think occasionally it's going to affect the show here or there. But stick with me. Get on here, chat with me when you get a chance to do that. And you have a great day. You have a great week. Get ready for the roller coaster as we're climbing up now, getting ready to do the plunge again, and then climb back up on the next hill, getting ready to do the plunge on that one. Hopefully, there won't be any loops in our weather. All right. That's great talking to you. We'll see you again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.